Well, right, so we've still got half of a... Well, we've got a second German impulse to come, because this is going to move across. It wasn't used, so it's going to move across in the command card box. And we're going to play this. Now the special doesn't happen until the 19th. So we're going to activate the 116th Panzer Division and the 560th VG Division. Now, there's 3 of the 116, and there's either 1 or 2 of the 560, and one of them's still in the reserves. It doesn't come out until the 20th, I think. So there's only 4 units we're looking at, 3 of the 116 and 1 of the 560th. Right, I'm not really sure how the lighting's looking here because the sun's blaring right in this window and I don't have a blind for it, and something that needs to be done up here. And it's that time of year where the sun's hitting me right in the eyes, so I'm not quite sure how it's looking. We'll try and plod on. Okay, so there's 116 unit here, here, and here. And where's the 560? He's up here. Is that off camera? Yeah, just a bit. He's up here. Actually, he's the one that's holding this. In fact, holding both of these guys surrounded now, since something else moved away. One of the first SS moved away, didn't it? Okay, so there's no roadblocks as usual. We've not done much of that. I don't know. It doesn't feel as strong roadblocks as what when you're playing the Germans, so it doesn't feel quite as strong. That, however, maybe there is a lot of strength to it, and maybe I don't feel like I'm playing this terribly well, so maybe not take any strategic advice from me. So yeah, but there's not any, so we don't need to remove any roadblocks. The objective marker is still a bit more to the west. Yeah, you can see it there. So it's still not, it's not a German unit proximate or within 2, so okay. So we're going to move on to see if these units are going to move and what they're going to do. So I'll have a wee look. Okay, none of the special moves for this division and a half, if you like. Closer objective and next to VP Hex. This one could get that is closer and it's adjacent to VP Hex, but he's leaving this town, and Allied supply would be traceable to it from down this way. So he's not going to do that. The same situation if he wanted to move, and I don't think there's anything. Is that a VP town? Yeah, Ufe, innit? 1, 2, 3. So yeah, but it'd be the same story. If he moves up to here, Allied supply is traceable to that, so they're not going to break that restriction. Okay, so cause surround, unlikely, but okay, some more sort of doubts regarding cause surround, I suppose. This unit is causing this unit to be surrounded, and he's adjacent to it. But he's also causing these 7th Army units to be surrounded. Because remember, let's just say if he wasn't there, they've got an out here. They can't go in there because there's zone of control, but there's an out there. So he is solely, again, when I say solely, he's the only one that's got zone of control on that hex, which is surrounding these 7th Armoured units. So now, here's the question. The first bullet is, again, I've read it quite a few times recently, a German unit already causing an Allied unit to be surrounded, but that is not in a hex adjacent to that Allied unit, move adjacent if possible. So because this guy can go 1, 2, 3 into there, and then he's not only adjacent to this one. Hold on. Okay, he can't, can he? He's going to drops around from this guy, isn't he? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, this guy's then got a hex, so he's breaking a restriction by doing that. Okay, fair enough. But it was still an interesting question. If that wasn't the case, would he move into there? I mean, the way I'm reading it, I kind of think yes, he would. However, he's restricted from doing that. So, okay, let's move on. Okay, I can't see any other cause around, not what we've got here. But, and then move on to infantry moves. Well, we've only got this one infantry unit, and he can't really move away at all because he is keeping that guy surrounded. In fact, well, the armoured units too. So, yeah, I don't think any of that's going to happen. So I think we're moving straight on to 10 to 13. So, which means the first unit we're going to look at is selector number 1 here. So now he was the one. He was stuck there for a while, wasn't he? I think we've got things cleared up now, though, or have we? Yeah, I think the taking off this town is probably because what it was Allied supply was getting could be traced to this town when he moved away. So is that still? And remember, we can trace through detachments, but we can't trace through that town. So if he wasn't there, 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, he can't, because that town's away. That was because it was before. It was 1, 2, 3, and then into, is it Wilts? Is it? Yeah, into there, and then was able to trace supply. So it looks like now that guy's freed up to move. So I'll just adjust the camera a wee bit. Okay, so looking at this guy with movement arrows. These primary arrows into here, and then primary for the 5th, which is what he is into here. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and then he's stopped there. So he's not spent his full. He can go here for 1, here for 2, but he's got a secondary arrow up here that would take him for 3, 4, 5. So that uses up the full. The other possibility, I suppose, is he starts with a secondary 1, 2 into there, 3, 4 into there, and 5 into there. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that's not right. I think if you can stay with the primary arrows, I mean, admittedly, he's got to go secondary arrow there. I think that's, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So a couple of detachments, 1 here, wasn't it? And 1 here. Yeah, hold on though. Well, because it does say, this is a bit of, I don't think it says it within the movement method. But when you look into, or what is it, there's a slight difference in the player aid? Or is it an extended move? No, hang on. Right, give me a sec. Yeah, this was a bit I posted a question on back, because in the player aid it says avoid ending move adjacent to allied unit if possible. It doesn't really say that within the actual rule book. Hex adjacent to an enemy unit. Well, I suppose in a roundabout way it does, but I feel like there's a difference between the two. It's like it says, if a move in the primary direction would result in the movement ending, 1, before all movement points are expended due to enemy zone of control or high terrain cost, or 2, in a hex adjacent to an enemy unit, and a move into a hex via secondary movement arrow would not result in either such ending, then move in that secondary direction. So that's, I think that's slightly different from the wording that basically just says avoid ending, move adjacent to an allied unit if possible. I know I think it was Martin answered that question to me, saying that he felt they were both the same, but I'm not convinced that the wording in there, or I think he was saying they meant the same, which maybe, I think the intent is to try and avoid, because the whole point of it is you've got an extended move, so you could keep moving. It's just that if I did make that move, let's go back to where was he? He was there, wasn't he? Right, I'll just take these away just now. So yeah, if he started with a secondary arrow, that's 1, 2 movement into there, 3, 4 movement into there, and 5 movement into there. So that does mean that he's spent his full movement and he's not adjacent to an allied unit. Interesting, because if he was to end up there, but hold on, extended move's got to stay on road, surely, or does it? Because if he ends it there, and if he doesn't have to stay on roads, he could continue that way. Oh dear. Right, okay. Hang on. I'm getting bogged down again. Okay, yeah, well, I do need to find out about this one, I think. Yeah, there's no restriction. I thought they would have to be staying on the road, but that's obviously... It just says continue moving in the direction or indicated by movement arrows. So let's just look at this again. This is a possible move for him. 1, 2, 3. No, hang on. Oh, it's maybe not. Maybe I'm counting it wrong. Well, the cost in here is 2 movement. No, that's right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Because it's broken hex without a road. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he ends his move there. He's not adjacent to an allied unit. He then can continue. Now, he could just go 1 into there and that's it. But he could go further, which I think is what the intent of this is, by going another 1, 2. Now he can't cross that bridge, so he would have to stop there. But there's another secondary arrow, so he could go 1, 2, and then that's via road, 3, 4, and he can't go secondary arrow, but he could actually go there. So he could actually end his move in this hex here. But I'm just not sure about that. So, yeah, this might be a good time to stop then. I know I said I was going to try and avoid this, just make a decision. So what I would have thought would be the move was 1, 2, and then realising that 3, 4 is going to stop him. So 3, 4, obviously that 3 was a secondary arrow, 4 primary, and then well, he wouldn't been able to go in there, but that would be 5, and then that's him stuck. But it does say try and avoid ending your move adjacent to an allied unit. So, and this was the other move, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's not adjacent to an allied unit, and it then lets him carry on and end up here. So maybe that is right. You know, I mean, I think think it wants to go primary arrows if it can get its full movement from primary arrows, but according to the reply I seen from John Butterfield, I got the impression that, look, you just try and use these arrows and get as much movement as you can, and that would get this guy to here. You know, that's via movement arrows. Following a movement arrow, he can get all the way to there with extended move. So surely that's going to be the right way to do it, eh? Yeah. I think so, but I don't feel 100% sure. I think my thinking before this was that if he can follow forward primary arrows, he'll do that, and he could actually do it one. Well, he's not though, because he's veering away on a secondary arrow here. He's going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if he's veering away there, why can't he just veer away here and end up 5 into here and then be able to carry on? Okay, yeah. Okay, I'm going to pause it there. After saying I wasn't going to do that, I might not. To be honest, if I want to get another wee shot at the game, I might not. But I need to take a break just now anyway. So, what do you think, guys? Yeah, what do you think? Do you think he should just end up here, or should he have ended up here and then been able to extend to here? Yeah. Okay. Right. I will cut the video there just now, and like I say, I do need to go and take a break anyway. So hopefully this might. I know it's sort of like before the end of the impulse, and it might be a bit of a video that I'm uploading. But any comments are welcome. Let me know if you think what it should be and whatever. Okay, I'll be back soon. Cheers. Hi all. Right, before we move on with this last part of the German impulse, or our second German impulse, a couple of questions. I'm just uploading part 5, I want to say it is, of the 18th, and I noticed a couple of things, one of which I think is a slight mistake. Now this unit moved away from here. He was surrounding this unit and he moved in here. Did feel a bit uncomfortable about this move. Doesn't seem to be in the rules that says it shouldn't do this, but it's still keeping this unit surrounded. It's able to move 1 hex closer to its army objective, so it can move with method what was it, 11, 12? Hang on, sorry, I'm on the wrong bit. Yeah, 11, move closer to army objective. Not only, actually, I've not actually realised that as well. Huh, okay. Well, first of all, it moved away. It should have left a detachment in that hex. But I wondered about it actually moving it in this hex, because it's here. It's 3 to move away into there because it's zone of control, but it would be another 1 movement to move back into there. Now it still has zone of control, well, here in particular, to stop to keep this guy surrounded. It's not opening anything else up, and these 2 hexes are the same distance away from the army objective, which is 1 closer than where it was, but the army objective marker has west on it, and this hex is obviously just slightly more west than this hex. But I've also just realised as I'm carrying this out that it also moves it adjacent to a unit to which, oh dear, does that mean we could have possibly had an attack there then? Because I'm just realising now that would have been adjacent to an allied unit, which is part of what movement method 11 wants to do if it can get 3 to 1 odds. and we would have had 5, 9 to 2 there, because it includes all adjacent units, doesn't it? Including this calculation, all German units adjacent to the target, all active units, yeah. So, and I think when we were trying to calculate the combat against this would have been 3 against 2, but he's got an IP, 3 against 3, 3 against 4, because he's got a unit adjacent. That would now have been 5 against 2, 3, that would have been 5 against 4, so that would have required a dice roll, wouldn't it? Now that if I do move that unit to there. Am I able to rewind that? What have we done? Well, we only carried out the one combat, which was along here, wasn't it? That was unit selector number 3 we were checking. Then we checked selector number, hang on, we'll just zoom out a bit while we get things in the picture here. Then we checked for a combat there, and that was a dice roll that didn't work. And then we looked here. Well, we looked here and then just ignored it, because that was unit number 9, and ignored it. But the fact that this unit's here now as well does mean I'm going to have a dice roll. Could that affect anything? Well, not really, because the card that we're on just now was, well, maybe it could. If the combat goes ahead. Oh, didn't tell me. Do I want to do this? Well, I think I have to, because that is the correct hex. I'm pretty sure that's where he should have moved to. Not only, and the thing is, because he was moving adjacent to an allied unit and getting closer to his army objective, it wouldn't matter if that was western of that hex anyway, because he's satisfying the 3 to 1 odds adjacent to an allied unit. Okay, right, I'm going to have to do this. While I was on it though, just before I move on, I thought this could have been a similar situation as well, because I just automatically moved this guy into here. That's 4 movement in there. It's 1 hex closer to his army objective. I never considered him moving into this hex or this hex. But again, it is westernmost, so this is the westernmost hex. That was correct, but I must admit, I didn't kind of consider it, and that's how I missed this one. Because I just automatically moved him into there, not thinking that he could move into here, still surround the guy, and, well, this is westernmost of this, but even more importantly, it was actually moving adjacent to an allied unit. Okay, so that's going to be 5 strength against 4 strength, because he gets a +1 for the IP, +1 for the adjacent supplied unit. So it's 1 to 1 odds, so I'm just going to kind of hope that this doesn't go ahead. Oh, he's got elite, that's elite as well, it's going to give a -1, isn't it? Okay, give me a second. Oh, and the support card's going to be applicable too, because that's what we moved on to, and that was combat engineers, giving them 1 extra strength, and it would take that IP away as well, so that is definitely an applicable combat tactic. So there's a -2 to this dice roll, only 1 to 1 odds, and sorry, just moving down, showing you where I'd left things from last night. I was talking about this. I wanted to discuss this further as well. I've got some more to say about this situation, about movement arrows with this unit. However, if this attack goes ahead, this combat tactic could be used, and this impulse might not even happen. So I don't think we've moved anything, have we? I think because it was only the 116 and the 560th, which is the infantry up there, maybe just out of camera. And I think we were looking through the movement methods and we couldn't find anything. I'd need to double check back on that. Yeah, because I think the 2 116 units, they're already in VP hexes. So we were just down to movement methods 10 to 13 and about to try and move this guy with arrows, but we were just, that's where I kind of got a bit stuck. Okay, well, I'm going to have to make this dice roll. So it's 1 to 1 odds, and we've got a -2 to this. So let's do it. Okay, it's a nay. I'm kind of hoping this doesn't go ahead, and then we didn't need to rewind. So that's a 6 though. I think that's probably just going to be too much, isn't it? Cancel if less than 2 to 1 or defender in a town. Yeah, so it is less than 2 to 1, right? Okay, got away with that one again. I think I've got lucky and I've come back and rolled a couple of dice. Got quite lucky. I mean, that one was easy enough fixed, but I'd like to go ahead with this because I've got another couple of thoughts on this, and I was maybe picking on Martin's response to what I was talking about, what I posted regarding the sort of conflict between the player aid and the rulebook, and I think I might have to take that one back and eat my words because I read it again, and anyway, we'll come round to that. Okay, so hang on. So yeah, so going back to that was the correct. I believe that's the correct hex for that, and we missed that detachment. And like I said, I did want to point out that unit up there, but I didn't really think about it. But I got lucky enough that is the westernmost hex. But I've also got to consider. I mean, because I could move to there or there and keep that guy surrounded still, and not only have I got to look at the compass direction, make sure it's same amount of hexes away. To be honest, that hex wouldn't have been the same, would it? Or would it? No, that would have been one less. So anyway, it's not relevant, Grant. Let's move on. Okay, one last thing as well when I was looking, and I started panicking a bit about this, was when we made the attack in here, right? This unit was here, I think. It was an attack into here. And I'll just put this guy back in before I forget. But we brought this unit in as a reserve. So, well, actually I need to put that there. Let me just chuck a green cube. We eliminated the unit, which was fine. But we brought this reserve in, and we were wondering where to put it. I was just looking back in the video, and I started panicking, thinking that right, hang on, wait till I get to the back. Give me a sec. Yeah, I was panicking because it was like 12.2 as German reserve units in combat, adding 12.21 as adding active reserve units to German attack. Place a reserve unit in if at the moment the check meets all the requirements. Hex is adjacent, German reserve supply, not overstacking. Yeah, okay. But then if more than one hex, and this is the part, place a unit in a hex causing the defender to be surrounded. Well, the defender was already surrounded, so not an issue. And then in a hex not across a river from the defender. So I then said, right, these two hexes are out. These are empty hexes though, so, and this is what got me panicking. Then in an empty hex, so that's further down the priority. And remember, this one wasn't applicable because it couldn't trace reserve supply. So I then thought, well, these two hexes are out because they're coming across the river, and there's no empty hexes. So then in a hex with the fewest German units, well, there's these two were the only two, we couldn't go there. And I've got one unit each. And then if more than one choice remain, placing a hex closest to the reserve unit's army objective, which is this hex, and this is where I end up putting it. And then I started thinking, well, I've placed that there, but hold on, what about 9.24 tactical adjustments? It wants to be in an empty hex when it moves a but here's the thing, when I read it again, because like I say, I did think I'd made a blunder there, and maybe I should then adjust it with the tactical adjustments. But tactical, sorry, I'm trying to find it here. Here we are, 9.24 tactical adjustments when moving adjacent to an ally. When moving, this isn't a move. I don't believe this is classed as a move. So these adjustments apply to all movement methods in which a German unit is moving adjacent to an allied unit and take priority over instructions in a given movement method. So I then thought, right, that's nothing to do with a movement method, this Grant. This is the placing of a reserve unit. So I don't think that comes into it. So I then thought, right, that's fair enough. We can ignore that one. So all good there. I believe so anyway. I don't think that that adjustment should try and come in and place this guy in here. I mean, it means he's attacking across the river for nothing, whereas he's attacking from there, he's adding 1 strength. So I can't really see that that's it. He's not moving. That's the bottom line. But If I've got that wrong, then let me know. Okay, so I'm going to go back to carrying out, finishing off this last impulse for the Germans, and we can talk a little more about what I'm thinking now. Okay, so back to this situation. We're on movement method 10. We want to follow movement arrows. Here's our guy. Now, primary arrows, if you want to try and stick with them, 1, 2, 3, 4. He's stopped before he's 5 movement, so he can't go that way. So then we decided, okay, 1, 2, and then break away the secondary arrow, 3, then primary arrow, 4, then primary arrow, 5. You could end up here. But he's going to be adjacent to this allied unit, and this is why I was wondering, okay. But there was a third way that we could have done it. Because we couldn't do 1, 2, 3, 4, and then into here with a secondary arrow, because that's 6 movements, so we couldn't do that one. But there's one last way we can do it, and that was 1, 2, going secondary arrow, 3, 4, going primary arrow, and then 5, ending in the hex with a white blue cube again. And then, because this one's ended up adjacent to an allied unit, can't extended move, but because this one is not, and this is what you want to try and achieve, they could then carry on with movement arrows, with extended move. So he gets his full movement again. Now, primary arrow would just take him into there and stop him, so he wants to try and benefit from the most he can. 1, 2 into there, can't go across that bridge. 3 into there, following the road. 4 into there, can't go across that bridge, and then 5 into there. That would take him right across to there. And I actually believe that's where I'm going to move this unit. I actually think I'm going to do this. I'm not going to upload the video and let somebody tell me that what they think. I think if you can look at any combination of arrows and you then get the most out of it you possibly can. But coming back to this situation with moving adjacent to an allied unit, so I challenged Martin and asked him the question, and he did admit that, pretty sure his answer did say that it wasn't worded very well, but within the player aid it says, under movement methods, and this is in player aid 10, follow movement arrows, move if able to spend full movement allowance following arrows, with preference given to primary arrows. Avoid ending move adjacent to allied unit if possible. So, and then I was like saying, well, it doesn't really say that in the rule book, but let me just read it to you again. So it's bullet 2. Well, let's read bullet 1, right? Let's read it from the beginning. Sorry. Follow movement arrows. Movement method 10. Move if able to spend the unit's full movement allowance, moving in the direction indicated by movement arrows. Follow the direction indicated by the primary movement arrow in each hex if possible. So it's just saying if possible, so you could maybe move secondary. If a move in the primary direction would result in the movement ending 1 before all movement points are expended due to enemy zone of control or high terrain cost, or, now this is the one, right? This is the one, or 2 in a hex adjacent to an enemy unit, and a move into a hex via secondary movement arrow would not result in either such ending, then move in that second direction. So that actually means that you've got to try and avoid ending your move adjacent to an allied unit, as it says in the player aid. And I know it's because it's worded in a paragraph there that's trying to take care of a bit more, it's trying to add a lot more than what the player aid does. That's what threw me and made me think that they look like they were different, try to say different things, but they're not. It's just worded differently. So apologies for that one, Martin, you're spot on. So it wants to avoid ending adjacent to an allied unit if it can. So it can by carrying out, going further and looking through all the different movement methods with all the arrows. I end up making this move going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into here. So this unit moves into here. And then, because he's not adjacent to an allied unit, which is part of the point of that, he can then extended move, following arrows again, and again, I'm pretty sure that John did answer it in a way that says, look, just move as much as you can, get as much movement as you can, following whatever arrow is possible. So Obviously coming here, that's just ends me there. So, but I can get more out of it by going 1, 2 into here. I can't go across the bridge like we said. 3 into here. 4 into here, and I can't go across that bridge, but I can end up 5 into here, and that's used up the full 5 movement points again. And we're going to leave behind a couple of detachments, aren't we? There and there, I think. Is that right? 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So, and that's him expended his full 10 movement allowance. So I think that's what you've got to do. You've got to look at all the arrows, look at all the combination of routes that you could go, and with the first normal move, avoid ending adjacent to an allied unit if you can, and then if you can, extend it as far as you can, basically. Okay, so I'm going with that, and I'm not going to wait on people telling me that I'm wrong. But if you do tell me I'm wrong, I'm happy to accept it if it turns out to be. Okay, so let's get away from there now. So that's unit number 1 made his move. So we've got unit number 2 to look at next, which is here, and then unit number 3. They're both in VP hexes though, so they've already tried to move, I believe, and pretty sure they're going to be breaking the restriction, opening up supply to these towns. But I'll have a look. Yeah, I was just trying to wonder there why. I feel like this unit could move, and we could still, even if he just was to move there, right, which is probably closer to his army objective. I'm pretty sure Allied supply cannot be traced to that town from there. So it made me wonder, did I miss a move before? But the only real move that we were looking at before would have been movement method 2, which is closer to objective and next to an allied VP hex. And I did remember looking at that one, that you could go 1, 2, 3, 4 down to just outside St Hubert here. But by doing that, allied supply is traceable to that town, so that's why you wouldn't have considered that. So I think that's the case. Right, so he can't move with arrows though, because that, well actually I'm saying that, hang on. 1, 2, 3, stop some. 1, 2, 3, 3, where are we? 4, stop some. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, in actual fact, he could do that. But if he ended up there, is allied supply traceable to La Roche? Yeah, it is. It can squeeze through here. So that means he can't move with arrows. Is that right, Grant? I believe so. But can he move closer to his army objective? Okay, well, he definitely can, because like I already, did I not just say even moving to here, allied supply wouldn't be traceable. He can't get adjacent to an allied unit though, to try and carry out the 3-to-1 advantage. So, but he wants to find the hex as close as possible, well, the nearest one to his army objective, but without breaking the restriction that's going to let allied supply traceable there. So he can't. There's okay. There's okay as well, I think, because supply can't be traced down there. It doesn't look like it can be traced any other way. Ooh, wait a minute. No, you're talking. Oh no, because across this river. Now you've got to remember that we can trace through detachments for this, so you can trace through this, but not through that town. So if you're tracing across this river, well, mind you, this is a bridge. Oh, it's a bridge, isn't it? Yeah, that was that question that came up before as well, and I'm sure that got confirmed. In fact, I can look back. I think Martin even got me the answer to that question, that you could ignore that crossing a bridge to treat it as an unbridged river. for tracing supply purposes. Pretty sure that's right. Might have to look that one up again though. I don't think it's relevant here because I think if we do get onto that road, we still can't find, because zone of control in here, we still can't find a supply trace for the Allies. So the supply trace is only going to be down through here probably, or through there if that unit was to move down. So I think he can move there. I mean, he can't move there. So he can move there, but as soon as he moves there, he can't do that. So 1, 2, but then again, is that going to be closer? 6, he could move there. He could move into either of these 3 hexes, I think. The army objective marker's got west on it, so he's wanting to get the closest hex and the one that's most western. Oh dear. Right, okay. Okay, I think he's going to get into this hex, because this hex and this hex are both 8 away from his army objective. They're the closest he can get without breaking the restriction. And I think he's also going to come down and through this hex to grab a detachment, which he's got the movement to do, so he could do 1, 2, 3, 4, or he could 1, 2, and then 4 into there. So that's him 2 hexes closer to his army objective. And between that hex and that hex, this one's slightly more west. And he's not, I can see, allowed supply traceable to that town. So I think that's a goal. Okay, similarly with this guy, I think he can move to here, but I think that's about it. I thought if he moves up here, which is going to be 1 hex closer to, then supply is traceable. So he can't go up here. And the further he goes up and round, the Allied supply is going to be traceable. But he can go into this hex here, and I don't think Allied supply is traceable to the town. And he's 1 hex closer to his army objective. So I think that's right. And he could actually go this route as well. So it's 3, 4, 5, so that he grabs a detachment there. That's 1 hex. I mean, it's also adjacent to Allied units, but they've got a strength of 6 there. There's not a 3-to-1 advantage on that, so that's not relevant. But it's still 1 hex closer to his army objective. And like I say, I don't believe there's any restrictions broken. Allied supplies are still not traceable at that town. Okay, good. Is that us then? 1, 2, 3. Well, we've got the infantry unit, haven't we? Yeah. Okay. I think he can do one of these funny moves away as well. He can't move with these arrows, not his full movement anyway. He's keeping this guy surrounded. He's keeping zone of control here, and obviously the hex he's in. If he moves here, however, for 2 movement, breaking zone of control, he's still got zone of control on these 2 hexes, still keeping these guys surrounded, and he's 1 hex closer to his army objective. I don't think he can move any further. Oh, wait a minute. Is that 1 hex closer as well? It will be, won't it? Because he can actually come 1, 2, 3 then, couldn't he? And then he's actually moving adjacent to an allied unit that would have a 3-to-1 strength advantage, and he's still 1 hex closer. Is that right? No, it's not. I was thinking it. The 6th Panzer Army is the one that's further north. 5th Panzer Army is directly west of this. So going up a hex does not make that any closer. But going into there does. That makes it 1 hex closer. That makes it the same distance as that, basically. So So and he still keeps the units surrounded, like I've said. Detachment goes here. yeah, okay. I think that's all that. So it was quite long-winded just to finish that off. Yeah, so I think we've finally got to the end of the German impulses. And yeah, that was pretty bad. Drawing the first SS again. Verviers falls, Spa falls. They're on 22 victory points. Yeah. Why does that figure sound less than it should? Did I miss? I might have to just go and double check that victory point total, I think. I just feel like they should have slightly more than 22. I'm just wondering if I missed Spa and it maybe should be 24. Give me a sec. Okay, so I'm just watching back. I must have made a slight error, I think, because I've just watched back and the taking of Verviers, which was taken before Spa, and I comment that I take 5 victory points and it takes me up to 21. So I cannot be on 22. It must be at least 23, but I think it's 24 because I think we eliminated another unit, putting 2 units in eliminated units box and then chucking them away for another. But I'm just gonna double check that. Yeah, I clearly missed the 2 victory points for Spa. I don't mention it. So, and that would take it to 24, which is I think is right. When I said 21 for Verviers, I should have then said it goes up to 23 for Spa, and then the extra 1 came from the extra unit eliminated to make 2 units into a 1 victory point. So I do believe it's on 24 victory points they're on. So yes, not good. Okay, we're going to wrap this one up. Going to cut the video anyway, but I think I'm still here for another Allied impulse, hopefully another German impulse. Yeah, I seem to have a bit of the buzz back, even though it's going horribly wrong. I don't know though. I've had a little bit of time now. I think it's also a time issue, and it can be how you're feeling and whatever. Okay, I'll take a pause for now, guys. I'll be back when I let impulse soon. Okay, cheers.